Let's get back right to it. Let's see. Let us do the Urabe route. So let's see. So we're gonna do the Urabe route. I wonder how much of this changes? I don't know. Like, we don't get to see, like, because unfortunately, because we skipped the first 3 stages in order to save time, I don't know what happens during the hospital explosion. It doesn't seem... It doesn't seem Urabe's around right now. I don't know, I guess we'll see. This is like probably hitting her a lot harder because, you know, I guess that Urabe is her husbando of choice in this route. I stop halfway up the ramp. I want to go have another look. Well, you see, this is the Urabe route. You know, if he's not around for most of the story, then what's the point? I feel like if I go back to the hotel now, I'll never see him again. There's no way I could forget the tears I seen in Urabe's eyes when he said goodbye.
Yeah. でもそれはよ。そうだよ。あれだけ探したのに見つからなかったんだし。そうだ。探すなら明日もある。
I know, I just feel like I gotta do this, okay? The plot demands it. I turned and ran back down the ramp.
Oi.
The others moved to chase after me, but as they did, the hotel began to pull away from the dock. Sorry. I stood there for a few minutes watching them pull away. Sorry guys, I know this might throw a bit of a wrench in things, but I can't just leave him out there. Maybe there had been a better way to deal with that situation, but I hadn't been able to think of one. Well, I said I was going to do this. I was doing this to go look for Urabe, so I guess I better start doing that. Part of me was a little scared too. What if he hadn't made it, and he had betrayed us? But he still helped us out in the end. We'd be dead without him. I just kind of wandered for a while until I found myself in the plaza. This is where I met him for the first time. I felt like we'd known each other a lot longer than just a few days. I never would have guessed something like this was going to happen. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. No signs of the fortune teller. I headed over to the Alice cart, the attraction we'd gone through the day before. You know, Urabe asked to ride alone, didn't he? He looked pretty sick afterward, and I just assumed he was car sick. But what if he looked that way because betraying us was really bothering him? Maybe a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Suddenly my cell phone rang. Hello?
Inafune Saki ka?
Shido.
そうだ。まったく勝手なことをして。
Yeah, I know.
まあ、お前の気持ちもわからないではないがな。くれぐれも一人で無茶なことはするな。約束してくれ。みんなもひどく心配している。
Okay. I'm sorry I made you all worry. I reassured him that everything was alright and then hung up. I guess that caused more trouble than I thought, although it is nice to know they're worried about me. Still, Shido was right that I probably should have thought things through a little better. Well, you live and you learn. I headed off to see if I could find Urabe somewhere else. Eventually, I made my way to the very first attraction we'd gone through, Samurai Fantasy 7. He's not here either. I was about to give up and leave when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I turned and there he was. Right there. Him and his floating orb, I guess. Urabe seemed to be absorbed in some kind of meditation. He was sitting beneath a tree, illuminated by the soft glow of the streetlights. He looks completely fine, by the way. Urabe. I guess the explosion, you know, didn't do anything like... Didn't at least... make your clothes at least a little bit scuffled? At all? No? I guess not. It's completely immune. His eyes went wide with surprise as I rushed over. Well, when you left, you just looked really lonely. I couldn't leave you behind. It's not just me, either. Everybody else is worried about you too. I ran out of things to say, so I simply closed my mouth. For several long moments, the only sound was a quiet whisper of the wind. Oh, I guess I never thought about why he might be here meditating by himself. I'd been so excited to find Urabe that I hadn't even considered why we hadn't found him earlier, or that maybe he wasn't ready to see us, or what he'd do. Urabe? His eyes shifted to me, and then looked out at Samurai Fantasy 7. Every time... He's suspicious because of the thing where he keeps his eyes closed. You know, most of the time. That's always an indication of a suspicious anime character, you know? Like huh?
皆さんと挑んだアトラクションはあそこに座って少し話でもしませんか
Sure.
あなたはいつも元気がいいですね
He gave me a soft smile that seemed genuinely happy, and I grinned back. Well, that went better than expected. We sat down on a bench. Most of what we talked about wasn't important, and we both felt a little awkward. We didn't bring up Hogstein or Urabe's betrayal. There were a lot of things I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to strain the tenuous bond of friendship we seemed to have just created. So I talked about whatever I could think of. I wanted to know more about him, and I found I wanted him to know more about me, too. He doesn't need to do that. He's a fortune teller, right? He uses mystical powers to simply read your mind. I mean, what's his feeling? I don't know. You're telling me, Saki. From what I understand, though, he just seems like a rich boy. You know, he's just like he's like really rich. And that's basically his character. Beyond the whole fortune telling facade. He just feels bad about being rich. At least, you know, because his dad's like a criminal or whatever. When I woke up, it was chilly. Huh? When did I fall asleep? I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes and sat up. It was still dark. Now, what am I doing out here? Oh, it all came back to me in a rush. I was talking to Urabe, and I must have just drifted off. I quickly stood up. I'm so sorry, I must have been really tired. My voice faded away as I realized there was no one there. He has a habit of doing that, I guess. Disappearing. Urabe? But there's no answer, and he was nowhere to be seen. We were talking last night, right? I don't think he just wandered off without saying anything to me. Urabe? Perhaps he'd been kidnapped by Hogstein. Or maybe he'd gone sick and collapsed somewhere. I tried not to think about what might have happened and started to run, looking around every corner for him. I stumbled and tripped, but I kept going. No matter where I looked, though, he was nowhere to be found. Did he disappear again? I only just found him. He left me. Because he was getting sick of you, Saki. Haha, no. Urabe. Misery and fear washed over me as I realized I might never see him again, and I dropped to my knees. You know, it's funny how Urabe's route is quite a lot faster in terms of Saki's attachment, you know, to the person. All the other routes, Saki she kind of like warms up to them, you know, even after starting their route. But now it's like, oh, where is he? Where is he? You know, woe is me. Then suddenly, reality shifted. Oh, okay, it was all a dream. Never mind. Huh? I thought I was on my knees, so why was I looking up? That was all a dream? My heart was still pounding, but I let out a sigh of relief. Urabe? I turned to find him looking at me, his face much closer than I expected. He's always smiling. That's creepy. I'm fine. Sorry. I guess I was just really tired.
風邪などひかれていないようでよかったどこか室内に運ぼうとも思ったのですがとても気持ちよさそうに眠っていらしたので 運んでいる途中で起こしてしまったかと思い、このような状態。
You're talking about fake smiles. In like Wakasa's route, Urube's got that, you know, to an art, you know? Like he's mastered the fake smile. Anyway, as I was... What was it? I confess I was afraid I might go, so I left you as you were. As I was? His hand stroked my hair gently. Wow, we're moving quite quickly. He's already stroking Saki's hair. Did I bring a pillow? It seems kind of warm for being outside all night. Wait. I froze. Why hadn't I realized it earlier? Urabe?
Hi.
Is my head on your... He's on his knees. On his lap. He just smiled.
あまり柔らかくなくて申し訳ありません。
I guess lap pillow. Oh god, I am. I'm sleeping on his lap. I'm so sorry. I sat up so fast I made myself dizzy and curled up into a red, embarrassed ball. I didn't know we were Samus. I didn't know we could do that.
気にしないでください。あなたの寝顔を見ているのは楽しかったですから。
Oh geez, did I look weird? I look weird, didn't I?
いえ、可愛らしいお顔でしたよ。
Adorable.
はい。あなたの顔を見ているとなんだか落ち着きます。
I mean, this is supposed to be endearing. This like the fact that he's just saying these things with a straight face. I just find it kind of creepy. Don't you find this? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
この
He's saying these things
時が許す限り見て
like the biggest poker face. Well, next time you should wake me up.
わかりました。次の機会があればそうします。
Oh gosh, this is so hazukashi. No. My hands were cold from the morning air, and I pressed them to my scorching cheeks.
ですが、とても穏やかな寝顔で見ていて飽きませんでしたよ。
Stop it, please. Oh jeez, I can't believe I fell asleep.
きっと疲れていたのでしょう。眠ってしまうのも無理はありません。
You had to have been just as tired. Yeah, has he just been like sitting there the entire time? You can't act, you know, if you don't want to disturb her, you can't actually move your legs. So I mean, just sitting there for like hours on that, it wouldn't be good for your blood flow
男ですから、
or blood
あな
flow.
たにも体力はあるつもりですし。それより、お腹は空いていませんか？
My stomach made a loud, unpleasant noise. Maybe a little.
せっかくですから、朝食をご一緒しませんか？
Yeah, I love that.
それでは、参りましょうか。
I nodded and we got up and headed for the restaurant. Also, I imagine, like, unless he slept sitting up, I don't know if he got any sleep either. You know, in that case... Well, we both ordered Japanese food from the piglets and sat down at a table facing one another.
いただきます。
Makes me wonder if he's human at all, you know? He doesn't seem like a human being. Stay up all night. Keeps a straight face no matter what he says. It's like a robot. I don't know. Oh man, this is so good. Nom nom nom. Gosh, I was hungry. I have to admit it tastes better with Urabe here.
そうですね。
He gave me a soft smile.
久々の静かな朝です。
Yeah. I wonder if the others have finished their breakfast. Hopefully we can meet up with them again soon, but...
少しよろしいですか？
I looked up from shoveling food into my mouth like a pig, to find his eyes looking straight into mine. I hastily wiped my face and sat up straight. Of course.
あなたにはすべてをお話ししたいと思います。
Already getting the backstory? Already? He was beginning to fidget a little. Whatever he was about to say, it was big. Now, I do wonder, actually, in Urabe's route, because he's, like, the traitor and everything, we always learn, like, the reason why he's a traitor, I guess, sort of. Like, he works with, Hogstein to get revenge on his dad. I wonder if we learn anything deeper than that, you know? I don't know. I assume so, because this is his route. usually we learn like small little things are a little bit different in each route, right? So that gives me motivation to even do all of these routes in the first place. I gave him a small nod. Okay, go ahead.
ただ長くなりますが
It will take some time. There will be a lot of exposition, you see. That's fine. I'm not in a hurry, and I want to know.
ありがとうございます
He gave me a quick, nervous smile and folded his hands.
私はもうずっと長い間
Really? He gave me a slow nod. I couldn't imagine hating your own dad. I mean, I can, but
私の父は建設会社を経営しています私が言うのもなんですが結構な規模の会社で父の会社はこれまで名のある建物の建設にも数多く関わってきました実はこのテーマパークの建設も父の会社が請け負っていたんです
what, really? He nodded.
長年憎んでいた父が全勢力をかけたテーマパークの建設ですから私はワルドブーからテーマパーク爆破の話を聞いたとき協力したいと考えたのです
Oh. So he hates his dad enough to want to blow up his park? Why does he hate him so much? And your dad is...
はい父は今も人質として捕まっています
I had no idea. That meant both of us had family under Count Hogstein's control. Why didn't you say anything?
父がどうなろうと私は構いませんでしたから
Now, without any context, it sounds like he's a psychopath. Just like, I want him to die. His voice was flat when he spoke, but I could see the pain on his face. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just being tsundere. Like, I don't care what happens to him, Baka. Why do you hate him so much? Why do you hate him so much? Huh? He gave me a sad smile.
あの男は純粋な悪だからですわからないという顔をしていますね
Sorry. Urabe shook his head.
謝ることなどありませんよあなたらしい反応だと思います
Okay, it's still technically a hard
ですが
point.
これから話すことを聞けばあなたにもきっと分かってもらえると思います
I shivered. His usually warm eyes were as cold as ice. Really? I always assume his eyes are always cold,
私の父は人殺しなのです
Nani? Wait, you mean he's killed? And then, of course, we got interrupted. Before I could push further, and my cell phone began to ring. I pulled it out of my pocket and looked at the caller. It's Shido. He smiled and nodded.
どうぞ
Oh, thanks. One sec. I put the phone to my ear. Hello?
今
Moshi moshi?
話ができる状態か
Yeah, sure. I looked over at Urabe and heard Shido sigh with relief.
それでお前は今一体どこにいるんだ
I'm at the restaurant of Urabe, and yes, I'm safe.
浦部君まろが見つかったのか
Yeah, he's telling me about why he did it.
そうか浦部の様子はどうだ落ち着いて話ができているのか
Yeah, do you have a gun, pointed towards your head, Saki? He's fine.
わかったではそのまま事情を聞いてやってくれただし何かあっても浦部を責めるな
Shido giving,
Yeah.
classic cop advice. Don't provoke him. I made a mental note to pay careful attention to Urabe's behavior. Yeah, treat him like a criminal, before they're even... technically he is, I guess. Yeah, I mean, in every route, he often is arrested, and tried as someone who, I guess, co-conspired to make this all happen. So I guess he is a criminal, in a way. Got it.
よしいい子だ今日のゲームは俺たちで何とかする お前はそいつのそばにいてやってくれ。
Okay, so this is another route where we don't bother doing the games. I really feel like, yeah, Shido's route definitely is like the vanilla route, where we do most of the games like just straightforward and everything, which is interesting. But I guess definitely all of the other routes tend to just simply either do some of it or basically do none of it. You know, it just kind of it kind of like how do you say it? Like it jumps out the railway tracks. That's not the correct saying, but you know. I can do that, but are you sure you'll be okay?
ああ、こちらのことは心配無用だ。バカ。
Thanks, good luck. He hung up and I slipped my phone back into my pocket.
シドさんはなんと。
I guess they're gonna do today's games by themselves.
そうですか。
I'm sure they'll be okay. They can handle anything that pig throws at them. He fell silent for a moment.
そうですね。
His face relaxed and he gave me a small smile. So, about your dad.
はい。続けましょう。
Tell me about your daddy issues, Urabe. After a moment of thought, he began.
私は小さな頃から何不自由のない暮らしをしてきました。他人から見れば幸せに見えたかもしれません。しかし私は心に一つの暗い気持ちを抱えていたのです。
Off rails, that's what it was. I'm just thinking of the what I was trying to say before. Like a lot of the routes tend to go off rails. That's what I was trying to say. Jump off the train tracks, off rail. That's what it. Anyway, your dad?
父のことです。
His expression darkened.
私の父は正義か悪かの分類で言えば間違いなく悪の分類に入る人間でした。
Not so with my father. This is funny. He's like, you know, that is true. I do agree. You know, it's like, you know, it's much more complicated than saying someone's pure evil or pure good. But apparently, Urabe's father, not so much. He is just pure evil, I guess.
金のために人に言えないようなことを平気で行いながら平然と笑って暮らしている。財界政界とも深いつながりがあり、自分にとって不利益な問題があってもことごとくもみ消してしまうんです。幼い頃の私はそんなことなど何も知らずに父を慕っていました。ですが
He bit his lip, and I realized suddenly that he was holding back tears. It broke my heart.
私が父の修行に気づいたのは中学生の時でした。ある日、夕食を終えて自室に上がろうとした時、たまたま父の書斎のドアが開いていることに気づきました。
Interesting. Actually get to, you know, he actually explains how he found out.
閉め忘れたのだろうと思い、書斎の前へ行くと、父はちょうど電話中のようでした。
Though I guess, no, I think he mentioned this before in one of the other routes, actually.
父が相手に向かって発した言葉に
Something about, like, his father, like,
私はその場から動けなくなってしまったのです。
his father, you know, basically confirming the assassination or whatever.
始末しろ。
What?
まるでテレビドラマで聞く悪役のセリフのようでしょう。それは父の不正に気づいた雑誌記者を始末する相談でした。
I didn't know what to say.
そしてその電話の内容通り数日後事故が起こりました。その事故は雑誌記者だけでなく一台のバスと乗用車を巻き込んで
His face twisted with grief and he was silent for a moment.
ちょうど家族で今にいた時そのニュースを見た父は満足そうに笑っていたんです。
Smile. He smiled. Ha ha ha, I did it. I killed a bunch of innocent people. Hooray. A snarl contorted his face, his hand tightened to a fist.
その日から私は父をそしてその薄汚い金で育てられた私自身のことも嫌悪するようになりました。
Oh no.
わかりますか？自分の肉親がそんな男だと知った中学生の気持ちが。
I kept quiet. What could I have possibly said? It was a lot to take in all at once. To think he'd lived with that kind of pain for so long. Suddenly, I didn't feel very hungry anymore.
すみません。暗い気持ちにさせてしまいましたね。
No, it's alright. Well, I did want him to open up to me.
食事が終わったら気分を入れ替えて散歩でもしながら話しませんか？
You know, by the way, all these characters tend to have tragic backstories or whatever. Or at least some kind of emotional baggage they're always having. Does Saki have anything like that? Yeah, I always think, well, what about the actual protagonists? Don't they have anything about them? Don't they have a tragic past? I guess not. Saki's just like, I'm fine. Actually, totally good. You know, nothing bad happened to Saki. It seems. You know, like going through all the routes, it doesn't seem like Saki mentions anything about herself. I guess the idea is that she's supposed to be like, you know, just like a lot of dating sim games. I guess she is supposed to be meant to be a self-insert sort of. You know? I don't know. Anyway, okay. We finished up and left the restaurant quickly, perhaps in the hope that we'd leave the depressing atmosphere behind. Which is too bad, by the way. I actually prefer if Saki was her own character. You know? She has an interesting design, so. And she is, you know, sometimes it's fun when she gets mad, basically. You know, what's wrong with you and whatever. And she is very insightful and everything. I wish she had some deeper character to her. That'd be more interesting, I feel like. So there's a reason why these people fall in love with her in the first place. But I guess that's how dating sims work. You know, a lot of dating sims I've seen anyway are kind of like, it doesn't matter what kind of character the protagonist is. All the romantic targets always fall in love with them no matter what, I guess, despite them being generic. I mean, it's true in like dating sims, also true in like a lot of romance harem anime. Again, the idea, I guess, is that the audience is supposed to pretend to be the main character, but I don't know. I feel like that's a bit lazy, you know? Lazy writing. Anyway, outside the cool morning air, I started to feel like maybe we had left some of the gloom in the restaurant. The park was silent, and it felt almost surreal as we wandered through it, cut off from the rest of the world. Though I guess we also, I'll just like say again, I guess we do have some decision making, I guess, that kind of molds the personality of the protagonist a little bit, you know? So at least there's some kind of, I guess, freedom in that. So you get to mold the protagonist in the way that you want it to.
先ほどは
Though it is a bit simplistic though in this game because, you know, it's either you get love points or you don't, you know? So yeah, you always have to be like one particular kind of personality for the character to, I guess, you know, get the good ending and, you know, smooch or whatever. Anyway, enough ranting about dating sims.
お食事中にあんな話をしてしまい申し訳ありませんでした。
Oh no, don't worry about it. I mean, I asked you to tell me, didn't I? Forget about it, I'm fine. He smiled and seemed to relax a little.
よかった。
I was glad he seemed to feel more comfortable, but... Urabe, there's something else I wanted to know. After a few minutes, I finally mustered up the courage. Mustard, You prefer mustard over ketchup? Can I ask you something?
なんでしょう。
Well, you're a fortune teller, aren't you? How'd you get into that?
そうだ。
How'd you get into scamming people?
先ほどの話の続きになりますが、構いませんか。
Assuming, you know, fortune telling, like assuming in this world that's is the same way, or fortune telling is the same way it works in real life, you know, which might not be true because I remember this art style is reminiscent of Phoenix Wright, so maybe there is, you know, actual magical powers in this world or something. Well, in which case maybe he should use those magical powers to, you know, solve the case or something, or like stop Hogstein. I don't know. Sure. As we walked, he began to speak.
私が占いに没頭し始めたのは大学生の頃からです。インターネットで知り合った M2 という友人に勧められたんです。
M2, M2. No, that name sounded familiar because we hear it all the time.
その頃の私にとって唯一の友人でした。父のことがあって人間不信に陥った私は、それまで周囲にいた人たちのことも信じられなくなっていました。M2 はそんな私の苦悩を誰よりも理解してくれた。そんな彼が私に占いをやってみてはどうかと勧めてくれたのです。最初は本を見ながらの手探りでしたが、気づくと私は占いに夢中になっていました。
There was a slightly distant look on his face.
もしかするとそうやって見知らぬ他人の相談に乗ることが私にとって救いになっていたのかもしれません。
Why?
そうですね。占いに訪れる大抵の人は周りに相談しても晴れない悩みを持っています。そんな人たちの気持ちを軽くすることで、薄汚い自分の存在がほんの少しマシになったような気がしたのでしょうね。
You know, it feels like more you're like a psychiatrist rather than a fortune teller, I feel like. I don't know how like fortune telling is viewed in Japan. But obviously when I think of fortune telling, I feel like in Western society, you kind of think, you know, scams for the most part. I mean, you can do fortune telling as just like a fun hobby. You don't have to take it seriously, I guess. You know, you don't have to pretend like, oh, the spirits from the grave are calling to you or whatever. You can just like, you know, just do it for fun. Like, you know, like tarot reading or whatever, or like cold reading. You don't need to take it too seriously as if it's like actually real. But still, I feel like when most people think of fortune telling, they think of it a scam. That's all it is, really. Especially, I mean, I don't know, I feel like almost everyone knows, but like, obviously, a lot of what goes into fortune telling is just what the person puts into it, you know? Often, the client often gives the information to the fortune teller, and then they just like kind of like extrapolate from that, you know? It's not really like they're calling or anything like actually fortune telling or like predicting the future or anything. They're just saying very generic things that could apply to anyone, really. It's like horoscopes. Very similar. I think fortune telling is awesome. You're not your father. I don't know. Which one should I say? I can say this. You're not your father. The words were out of my mouth before I even realized I was saying them. I mean, after all you've told me about him.
そうですか。
Well, I mean, sometimes you seem to like to make fun of me, and that's not very nice, but I think you're actually a good guy.
ありがとうございます。ですが、優しいのはあなたですよ。
Wait, what?
ええ。あなたのその何気ない優しさに、私は何度も救われた気がします。
His smile was wide and warm.
占いに没頭していた私はいつしか新宿の兄と呼ばれるまでになっていました。
Oracle Shinjuku. Oracle Shinjuku. I've heard that name before. He's a really famous fortune teller. It seems like everyone's famous, apparently. In this part, there's like a pop idol. There's like Aries, the gamer. You know, the ultimate pro gamer. Mitarashi is like a famous like host club dude or whatever. Well, not really famous, but more like he has a lot of clients, I guess. Very popular, rather. I don't know, everyone's just famous. Some of the kids at my school had gone to see him. I seen an article about him in a magazine once.
そんな風に占い師として成功しながらも、私はずっと父のことが気になっていました。私が建設業界とは全く違う場所で生きている。そのことに対して何か思うところがあるかもしれないと。ですが、父は何も言いませんでした。
Why not?
あの男にとって息子のことなどどうでもよかったんです。自分が生きている限り、誰かに権力の座を明け渡すことなど1ミリたりとも考えたことがなかった。あの男の性質を考えれば当然のことなのに。 私は心のどこかで普通の父親のように自分を気にかけてくれているのではと期待していたのです。バカな話です。本当に私。
Okay. I mean, all I could think of is that. But then why did he? Well, I think why did your father have a son in the first place? You know, in that case, he could have just abandoned you. You know, he didn't bother to feed or clothe you, just like you into the streets. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he really is like his father is just a complete psychopath and just pretended to have a family just to look normal to other people. I don't know. That is a thing, I guess. Anyway, when I looked up, I realized we were in the front of the attraction I hadn't seen before. It was a colorful, animated place with statues of animals playing music.
M2 は私の苦悩を理解してくれた。メールでのやり取りがほとんどでしたが、それでも彼は私にとってかけがえのない友人です。
We kept walking and he kept talking.
その M2 からある日インターネット通話で直接話をしたいという連絡があったんです。すでに M2 を心から信用していた私はすぐさまその申し出を了承しました。 M2 の話を聞いた私はついに来たと思ったのです。
The time for what? His voice was unpleasantly calm.
ついに父に天罰が下る時が来た。
He says with a smile. It was a bright, calm morning, but when I looked at Urabe's smile, I felt a shiver run down my spine. What did he say? Urabe's eyes thinned to slits. I mean, he often does that.
父の会社が建設したテーマパークを爆破する手助けをしてほしい。
Blow up. In my mind's eye, I saw the Ferris wheel collapsing in a dark cloud of flame and smoke.
興奮した私はなぜテーマパークを爆破したいのか彼に理由を尋ねました。しかし M2 は自分を信じてほしいというだけで理由は教えてくれなかった。
And did you trust him?
はい。 M2 は私に進むべき道を指し示してくれた恩人です。
You know, that's how cults get you, by the way. That's how cults get their members.
その M2 が自分を信じろというのであれば
They manipulate you
疑う理由など
into trusting them implicitly. Even though, you know, what they want might not be actually for your benefit. His gaze shifted off into the distance.
あの時の私はむしろ私の気持ちを汲んでくれたのだとさえ思っていました。
Which I guess makes sense, actually. You know, like Shirabe actually mentioned before that the piglets, you know, the piglets working under Hogstein really are like cult members. You know, they are brainwashed in the same way. I guess Urabe as well. Almost sort of as well. Except that he can speak, I guess. I don't know if there's a rule to be under Hogstein's pig cult. If you need to not be able to speak or something, I don't know.
私は無条件で、いや、むしろ進んで計画に協力することを決意しました。父のすべてを破壊するため、M2 が開催するゲームを操作する。そのために私は参加者になったのです。
Oh. そうですか。Do you regret it?
後悔？
He blinked in surprise.
一つ後悔しているとすれば、それはあなたを巻き込んでしまったことでしょうね。あなたは何の関係もない人です。それなのにゲームに巻き込んでしまった。
Hey, I am connected. My uncle's one of the hostages.
いいえ、そういうことではないのですよ。
He shook his head. What did I understand? If my uncle had been taken hostage, then I was totally involved. He's not making sense. Urube's expression was unreadable. Well, I guess that was the wrong decision, but that's fine. Yeah, we're just walking around the park, having a nice walk, having a chat. We continued to walk, and before I knew it, we arrived at Bloodstained Hotel. Gosh, just look at that. The explosion had wiped out the building completely. We were lucky no one had died. If Urabe hadn't helped us, I was pretty sure none of us would have survived. The thought sent a shiver down my spine.
大丈夫ですか
Yeah, I nodded.
震えてしまうのも無理はありません。あんな目にあったのですから。
He gave me a light, gentle touch on the back.
さっさと通り過ぎてしまいましょう。
Warmth spread out from where he touched me, and the legs that had been weak and shaky a moment before felt much sturdier. Yeah, let's. We hurried on, doing our best not to look at the remains of the hospital. It really is just exposition. He said before it would take a long time. It really is just exposition of his like entire life, yes. Literally his life story. And we asked for it. Normally you would say, oh, I didn't ask for your life story, but actually we did. We did ask for his life story. So once we passed it, our pace slowed to a more normal one.
私は1日目からずっとゲームの参加者として皆さんと共に過ごしながらその日に起こった出来事をワルドブーに報告していました。
I already know he betrayed us, but hearing him talk about it makes me sad.
参加者の皆さんの考えや会話した内容もすべて一部を除いては。
Wait, so there was something you didn't tell him?
ええ。
He looked away. What was it?
あなたのことですよ。
Me?
ええ。2日目にあなたのおじさんからあったメールのことも伏せておきました。
But I mean, I don't know why we should thank him. Isn't it his fault in the first place? Why would we thank him for doing something that he should do anyway, as a good person? But I guess we'll... You know what? I'm gonna be stubborn. Why? Why didn't you tell him? I couldn't see the point. What could Urabe have gained by not telling Hogstein about me?
あなたを巻き込んでしまったことがずっと気がかりでしたから。
But you didn't. I volunteered. He smiled and shook his head.
あなたのような女の子を命がけのゲームに巻き込んでしまった。気にならないはずがないでしょう。
He sighed.
そして2日目の夜。
He grimaced.
ゲームに起伏をつけるために次の日のゲームをクリア失敗に導くようワルドブーに指示されました。さらにアトラクションの爆破寸前に隠し扉を見つけたふりをしろと。
Oh, okay. So it was actually planned that he would find the hidden door, maybe?
一度の爆発で全員死ぬのはつまらない。参加者の何人かは助けるようにと。
Oh, only a few. Okay. That was the initial plan, I guess.
私にはできなかっ
Urabe frowned. Why?
た。あなたがいたからです。
Suddenly, he turned to look at me.
ずっとあなたを見ていました。
I don't know. That sounds creepy. Huh? What?
はい。あなたはいつでも前向きで一生懸命でどんな困難にも真正面から立ち向かっていた。そんなあなたと触れ合ううちにどうしてもあなたを巻き込むことが嫌になってしまったんです。
He looked into my eyes for a long moment, and I could see him trying to form his next words.
あなたの悲しむ顔をどうしても見たくなかった。
And okay, well, I don't know. I guess it's not that creepy if you've been doing his route since the beginning, maybe. Probably you'll get more scenes of him actually caring about Saki, and, it will make more logical sense if we did it, like, from the very beginning. And maybe you see, like, him actually warming up to her and everything.
だから私はワルド部を裏切ったのです。
I guess it makes sense. But M2 had been Urabe's only friend, and he'd given him his complete trust. But when the time had come for Urabe to let M2 kill some of us, he'd betrayed him to save us. To save me. He betrayed his best friend for me. Well, you know what they say about bros or something before hoes? I don't know, anyway. I guess it's the opposite for Urabe. He closed his eyes and let out a long, slow breath. Urabe's confession was finished. He must really trust me to tell me all that. Saki's not a hoe, though. See, she's a bro. So it really is bro before hoe, you know? You know, Hogstein's the hoe. There's even H-O in his name, so it makes sense. Anyway, once we reached the mall, Urabe stopped. I felt a shiver go down my spine. What do you mean? Already? I haven't even reached the other stages of your route yet, Urabe. You're already leaving? What? Well, it doesn't turn out good for you, as we've learned in every route. You shouldn't do that. What? Why? Yeah, that's not gonna work, Urabe. I don't need to be a fortune teller to tell you that, mister. No, that's crazy. Besides, you don't even know where he is. Oops, I didn't mean to. Well, I sometimes skip a little bit, but I want to hear the full sentence. Okay, that's basically that's what he says. Sometimes I've been accidentally skipping a little bit of their voice. If it's like a little bit, I don't bother going back. But if it's like a full sentence, I feel like I should go back. Or if it feels like a full sentence. Let's see, let's save here. I don't know if it matters again, but I always save before every decision. I'm coming with you. I knew there was no way to stop him. That left me with only one option. I knew I might not be any help, but I knew that if I didn't go, that chance would drop to 0. But maybe more than that, I just wanted to be with him. Heart. That was that. Oh, come on. Of course I'm going to worry. You think I can just turn that off? Just turn it off. Turn off the worry center of your brain. I didn't know what would be waiting for him in there. I had no feeling he didn't either. Or I had a feeling that he didn't either. There's no way I was letting him go by himself. I opened my mouth to argue again, but he just shook his head. SMH. He gave me a sad, crooked smile. Exclamation mark! I was really starting to get tired of him always being so down on himself. I'm gonna get mad, aren't I? Yes, I'm getting mad. You're not allowed to self-depreciate yourself. Or how you say not depreciate. I always say self-depreciate sometimes in my head when I think of that word. But no, it's not self-depreciate, it's self-deprecate, that's the word. I always say depreciate. I think depreciate means something else. That's not the correct thing. Anyway, how can you even say that? I'd shed some tears for one, even though it says through, but it should be though, I guess. But even though he was kind of a traitor, everybody else would be sad too. Lots of people would be upset if he died. Get mad. That was a deep one. That was a deep, you know, what's wrong with you?
すみません。
He looked kind of shocked.
大丈夫ですか？
My anger and frustration finally boiled over and hot tears started to roll down my face. I couldn't take it anymore. Urabe was so worried about me, but he didn't care about himself at all. How did he not see how ridiculous that was?
急にどうしたんです？
Don't talk about yourself like that.
あ
I don't even want to think about you dying. It's horrible. The tears kept coming, but I didn't care anymore. Yes, I'm going to worry about you. And there's no way I'm going to let you go alone.
困りましたね。
He shook his head, but he was smiling. What's so funny?
すみません。あなたを悲しませているというのに、私は今とても嬉しいんです。私の願いが叶っているから。
Huh? What are you talking about? Question mark, exclamation mark? He laid his hand against my face, cradling my wet cheek. That's my wet cheek. My voice caught in my throat.
一人で行くと言っておきながら、あなたは怒るかもしれませんが。
And then he karate chops our neck, and then we fall unconscious. Huh?
心の底では、あなたならきっとそう言ってくれるだろうと。あなたのその言葉を待っていたのかもしれません。
Oh my god, this is such a soap opera. I feel it somewhere deep in my heart. I wish you would say the thing, you know, you would say to not leave you alone or whatever. I guess the entire game is kind of like a soap opera. His fingers traced a line across my cheeks as he wiped away the last of my tears. I mean, this is probably not the only cheesy romance scene, I guess,
だから
that's happened this entire time.
とても嬉しい。
Urabe. Urabe. I'm just hugging, I guess. Not smooching. Can't smooch yet, we're just hugging. He dropped his hand from my face, and I took it without hesitation. Before I could speak, he wrapped his fingers around my hand and pulled me into an embrace. Urabe? I couldn't manage to get any of the words out. All I could think about was the warmth of his body. And then he does this, you know, he does the tombstone. Is that what it's called? You know, is that the one Undertaker does in wrestling? He does, you know, he like spins Saki's body upside down and does the tombstone is what I'm thinking anyway. His hold wasn't particularly strong. In fact, it was almost gentle. I could have easily pulled out of it, but I didn't want to. Feeling his arms around me was a knife.
サキさん、もう泣かないでください。
Look at those forearms. It's like that's some strong forearm right there.
あなたに泣かれる。
Very defined.
こんなに胸が痛いとは思いもよらなかった。私と一緒に来てくださいますか？
Yes, let us go to Hogstein and get murdered. There's only one answer. Of course. I nodded and pressed myself further into his embrace. Alright.